All right, we're going to talk about functions, or relations, functions, and a one-to-one function. A relation is just like you would think about it. You have a relationship with someone. You can have a relationship between anything. Relationship between temperature and and the air conditioning in the room. So it's just a relation between two variables. X equals y, right? J equals k squared plus 1, and so forth. That's all a relation is. Basically, it's just a relationship. Okay? Two variables. Now, a function gets a little more specific. A function says one input has one output. For example, if I have the input here, this is 1, 2, and 3, and I have the output here. Let's say I have 2, 2, 4. All right. So a function says each input, so one input has one output. So 1 can go to 1, 2 can go to 2, and 3 can go to 4. That's okay. What's not okay, though, is if I were to have the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 4, if I were to have 1 have an output of 2 and 1 to have an output of 4, you can't do that. That's not a function. Each input has one output. Now the output might be the same. Notice that 1 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 2, but each input only has one line drawn from it. Okay. Now, one-to-one function's even more specific. A one-to-one function, 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12. One-to-one function says that not only does each input need to have one output, but also each output needs to have one input. So 10 goes to 1, 11 goes to 2, 12 goes to 3. Okay? So a non-example would be something like this. Okay? If I have 1, 2, and 3 as my input, and my output is 4, 5. Now, based on my definition of what a function is, one input has one output. So one input goes to 4, one input goes to 5, one input goes to 5 as well. That is a function. But not 1, 2, 1. Why? Here's why. Because in order for it to be one-to-one, X needs to have one output, but Y also needs to have one input. So if I were to flip these around, 4 and 5, and 1, 2, and 3, 4 would go to 1, but then 5 would go to 2 and 3. This right here we can't have. That does not work. Function, yes. But one-to-one function? No. This right here is an example of a one-to-one function. Now, real quick, there are tests that are associated with each type of these functions. This is the vertical line test. If a function passes a vertical line test, then it's if a graph passes a vertical line test, then it's a function. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say I were to draw a straight line, a vertical line, okay? If I just take, hold on 1 second. If I just take this line and drag it across the graph, if it just crosses the graph in only one place here, then it is a function. Notice it only crosses it in one place. But if I come over here to this function, notice it crosses it in two places, one here and one here. Now, what does that relate to this being a function? Here's why. Let's say that this point right here was 2, and this y value here was 3, and this y value here is -3. That means that 2 would be mapped onto -3 and 3. So one input would have more than one output. But in a function, one input has one output. Now, for a one-to-one function, you need to use the horizontal line test. The horizontal line test is like the vertical line test, except you draw a horizontal line. So let's draw a horizontal line, like such. And what you're going to do is you're just going to drag it across. Look, if it touches it in one spot, then it is 1-to-1. No, I'm sorry. Then it's a one-to-one function. If, however, it touches it in two spots, here and here, it is not one-to-one function. However, we already saw that this one, is a function, because it only crosses it doesn't meet the vertical line test, but not the one-to-one function. So this one right here would be a function, but not a one-to-one function. This right here, letter B, based on I can draw a line, that is not a function for sure. This down here passes the vertical and it passes the horizontal line test. So this is a one-to-one function, which means it's also a function. All one-to-one functions are also functions. If it's not a function, then it cannot be one-to-one.